beginning, so I'll say it again. Hey there, all my Rotation 411 initiates. So it's been a minute since I've been on here. I was able to do the tarot readings general for, I believe it was Libra season, or no, it was Virgo season. I was trying to get the Libra season ones out. I didn't do that in time. So I'm just going to do a quick channel update. You know, things have been kind of crazy and chaotic, and we're just getting reestablished on this end of the camera. So I will be on doing the Sagittarius Sun Aries Moon video very soon. That's the big 144 series where we cover all the sun, moon, and rising signs. We've already done Aries Sun through Scorpio Suns with Aries Moons. If you want to check those out, there's playlists on the channel. It's Rotation 411 Astrology. But we also were doing the birthday series where I go through and I'm kind of just reading each day so you can look up your birthday. And then I was also including the cusp weeks in there as well if you're a cusp baby. So I had only gotten through about a month or two of those, so I'm going to start that up again. So do look out for that. And then there's this book called The Outer Planets and Their Cycles, and I've had it for a while and I want to read it. You know, everyone's an astrologist now that Neptune is in Pisces, but really you're going to get the meat and potatoes from reading books. You know, I can Google for quite some time. You can kind of learn the aspects from Googling. I had a beautiful review where she's like, oh, you don't need to get a reading from her, you can just go to Cafe Astrology. And I love Cafe Astrology, but I actually created our own version of it. It's at divinetimingdatabase.com. If you go to Compatibility Report, it's free if you only have the birth dates. So it's kind of ironic that she says that you can just look it up on, you know, Cafe Astrology, when I actually created my own version of that. I'm still working on writing the definitions in, but they are true to my wisdom and knowledge, so it's kind of cool. Check it out. There's some really important ones that aren't in there yet, I noticed, but all the major deal breakers and really good romance aspects are in there. I still just have to add like Saturn square Venus and some of the more annoying, suffocating aspects, definitions. You know, I don't know if that I'll add all the definitions because I really want those important ones to pop out at you as you're looking. But anyways, the outer planets and their cycles is about the generational planets. So it's Neptune, Uranus, which I always like to say Uranus, and Saturn. I'm sorry, and I hate the group chats because then I've got 10 messages coming through here. So I'm pretty sure it's those three and Pluto. And even though Pluto is or isn't a planet, as we like to say, so I'm going to start this week doing the lives. I have, you know, I think of things here and there, but I haven't had a lot of inspiration lately. Hey, India Sani. So, yeah, this week, look out. It'll be attached like part 1, part 2. This is sort of just my intro to it. We're going to go over this book, sort of was like an audiobook, but we're going to do it in a live so that I can kind of pause and flesh out the ideas in it in real time. So it's going to be more like a book review, but you don't need the book. So, I'll just read the back to you guys really quick, and then do keep your eye out for your birthday from the birthday series book if you don't own a copy yourself. So it says Lectures on Modern Astrology. This volume is one of a series compiled from the talks and workshops of some of the most innovative and articulate contributors to modern astrology. Through this medium of edited transcripts, some of the most vital and incisive of today's astrological thought, which heretofore has been communicated only to small groups and then passes into oblivion, can be given a permanent form and a wider availability. This volume comprises lectures given by Liz Green at a weekend program in England and is the most complete treatment of the, quote, astrology of the collective, end quote, ever done. You guys will have to excuse me. I'm getting new contacts tomorrow, so I can't really actually see this that well, but yeah, let me read to my audience as soon as I can't see. I always like to do things backwards. It explains significant historical and generational trends that correspond to vast planetary cycles. And it also discusses the individual's attunement to the outer planets and the collective psychological forces they represent. Among the subjects discussed are, and these are bullet points. Bullet point number 1, generational aspects such as Saturn conjunct Pluto, Saturn conjunct Neptune, Uranus conjunct Pluto, Saturn, Uranus aspects, etc. The next bullet point says, the aspects between the outer planets and the personal planets and the corresponding ability to tap into collective energies. Next bullet point, transits of the outer planets to individuals' natal planets. So the transits, right? And then The next bullet point is example charts of people who are especially attuned to collective energies. Karl Marx, he was the one that, kind of wrote out communism as a thought or socialism. Hitler, Lenin, Jung and Freud. So, um, I just want to say also that as we go through this and we get to their birth charts, we might do sort of branch off videos exploring those more. Also, if you've been watching the channel for a while, you know that we do the Celebrity Synastry series. So, I had a few ideas for more celebrities that we still need to get to. But if you have any ideas for celebrity couples that you want me to do their synastry to tell you how compatible they are, you can write it in the comments below. Thank you. Thank you, India, for the love out there. All right. So the next, the last bullet point is the birth charts of America and Russia. Because remember, as we do astrocartography, which is where we take the stars and the transits and we overlay them on the map and say, okay, wherever Venus is, like if your Venus is overlaying into New York on the astrocartography chart, then if you're looking for love or money, New York might be the best place for you. But if you're maybe feeling lethargic and you're like, where could I go to get some more energy? And your Mars is landing over Arizona. I mean, it does the whole world or it can do regions. I've had a client once where we just looked at, I think, Spain, and it was like if she moved to Eastern or Western Spain, and one was really good for love. I think it was like Venus, and the other one was Saturn, maybe really good for career. All right, so we'll look into the birth charts of America and Russia in context of this book. I don't know how much I'll actually go into it myself. So a little more here. At a time when mass psychology, it says quote unquote mass psychology, is virtually no better understood than 100 years ago, in spite of innumerable historical, sociological, and psychological studies of the subject, the book provides convincing evidence that astrology may indeed be the most accurate and useful framework for studying, predicting, and understanding the hidden forces which motivate human beings. Liz Green is an accomplished astrologer, artist, student of mythology, and a practicing Jungian analyst. So she also studied Carl Jung. The author of such outstanding books as Relating Saturn, A New Look at an Old Devil, and Looking at Astrology for Children, which synthesize an in-depth approach to astrology with Jungian and mythological insights. She has also written other children's books and a novel about Nostradamus. It was like, had the little cutoff there because it was at the end of the line. Nostradamus, called The Dreamer of the Vine. So this should be a pretty good one. Like I said, we're going to be doing the lives because I haven't been feeling too inspired, or when I do, I'm not jumping on. So we're going to be doing the lives and just sort of going over maybe a chapter at a time over the coming weeks. So, you can just, it'll be a series, so you can just kind of pop on, and I'll have the playlist for you of all of them. But basically the contents are the introduction. Then and this was kind of the bummer when I was looking through here, because I was kind of hoping it would say like, this chapter is about Saturn, this chapter is about Pluto, and then I was going to jump through and kind of research it myself. But it's lecture 1, lecture 2, so there's 7 lectures, and then it says illustrations, and then the first illustration, it says the structure of the psyche and its relation to the inner and outer planets. So that should be a good one. And then the rest are mostly the birth charts. And then it goes into the beginning of the Piscean age, which is what we're in now. And then the beginning of the Aquarian age, right? This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Let's see, how far are we in? I've got until 5, and then I'm going to have to pop off a little, maybe right after 5, because my man's going to be like, what's for dinner, But let me see if we could get through the introduction really quick. I know, and then we'll probably do it lecture by lecture, and sort of chapter by chapter. So, if you miss one, I don't know that I'll be on every single day, but we'll be doing this over the coming weeks live. And the reason I want to read it to you is not to make it like an audiobook, but to make it like an in-depth kind of book review and study of the concepts. So we'll probably be pausing a lot. So there'll probably be like part 1, part 2, I don't know. It's paperback, so I hope you're referring to the book, or I'll have to get some moderators in here. All right, introduction. Yeah, it's just a page and a half, so let's just go over it really quick if you guys don't mind me reading to you. It says, the series of lectures which follow was given in April 1980 as a weekend residential conference under the auspices of the Wrekin Trust, held near Bath, the old Roman spa in the country of Avon, England. The Wrekin Trust was created by Sir George Trevelyan in 1971 as a charitable foundation committed to the exploration of various aspects of spiritual and psychological knowledge. I have been fortunate to be able to offer workshops and conferences on a number of astrological themes under the umbrella of this organization. I would like to thank both Sir George Trevelyan, I want to make sure I'm saying his name right, it's like Trevelyan, and Malcolm Lazarus, the program director, for their help and support in these ventures. All right, I've got some of you left because I'm probably popping in like, what's this even about? We're just reading the introduction of this book, The Outer Planets and Their Cycles. And I'll put it in the caption in a bit. I think it says like live chat continued because that's my automatic default in case we get kicked off of here. Sometimes the Wi-Fi kicks us out, but I actually updated my Wi-Fi since you haven't seen me as well. I had sort of a hotspot thing going on. Now we have the hardwired house like cable Wi-Fi, so should be better. I think it has been for the most part, but I haven't really been live since we did it. So here we go. It's another page or so. Almost 3 years have passed between the conference and the publication of the talks. Many of the themes which I had begun to explore at that time have developed and changed, and so have world events. The main emphasis of the conference dealt with currents in the collective psyche, with surface as political and religious movements and visions, both in society and in the individual. And a good deal has happened since 1980, which dates some of the material. In 1980, I was watching the then future conjunction of Saturn and Pluto in Libra with some trepidation. That's why all my early 80s babies have at least their Pluto in Libra. Um, with some trepidation, because on each former occasion when the conjunction has occurred in this century, there's been a major outbreak of war just prior to it. Now, I think they're speaking of the conjunction in general of Saturn and Pluto, which does happen, every handful of years. I want to say like 6 years or something. Because it takes Pluto, give or take 20 years to get through a sign. Like he'll be in Aquarius for the next 20 years. He just entered. And it takes Saturn, was it? Your Saturn return 29? Well, no, it's 29 years to go through the full zodiac. So Saturn goes through each sign every 2 to 3 years. So I think it's about every 5 or 6 years that we have a Saturn Pluto conjunction. Now, all you late 80s babies and early 90s have your Pluto in Scorpio. But anyway, just a side note in case you didn't know. So Liz Green, she was watching this in 1980. So this book is a little dated, but yeah, I know, right, Brandon? Tyler, you left, but yeah, I don't know. Hey, Angeles Pintos, what's up? Hola, ¿cómo estás? Muy bien? You too. Okay. You too? Yeah, all right. So yes, I speak a little bit of Spanish, but it's not that it's very good. It's just I have a lot of vocabulary in it and pretty good sense of humor. So let's see. I lost my spot. Okay, so Liz Green was watching this Pluto Saturn conjunction in Libra with some trepidation in 1980 because on each former occasion when the conjunction has occurred in this century, there has been a major outbreak of war just prior to it. But she's talking about Saturn Pluto conjunction in any sign, not just Libra, I believe. So, at the time that I'm writing this introduction, the conjunction has been within orb for many months and is approaching its exact meeting in 27 degrees of Libra. Mind you, this book was published in, so it's not now. We just had a Saturn Pluto conjunction a couple years ago, I believe, in, what sign was that in, you guys? He just moved into Aquarius, so it must have been Sagittarius. I'm pretty sure it was I think it was in Capricorn. I think it was right, like, almost to the cusp of, maybe it was like, yeah, it was like Sagittarius to Capricorn. I think it was like 2019 or something like that. All right, maybe even happened again since then. I just remember actually watching that one in the sky with my neighbors and like telescopes and everything, and everybody making a really big deal about it on the internet. So, okay. An undeclared war has already occurred between Great Britain and Argentina, and another, perhaps more potentially serious, has broken out in the Middle East, where Israel has busied herself rooting out the Palestinian Libertarian Organization by dismembering Lebanon. So now you guys do know, and I should look it up now, this book. See, that's why I like studying these things, because now I'm going, okay, I know we had it. She's talking about the one in 1980, the Pluto Saturn conjunction, but I know we had one in like 2018 or 2019. So are we having another one because we also have, the war in the Middle East and the war in Ukraine now? So, flash forward, what is it, already 44 years. yeah, anyway, so it's like, is there Saturn Pluto conjunction going on, or are we on the brink of it yet again? Because, like I said, I do think it's every 5 or 6 years, and 2018, 2019 was about 5 years ago. So, if any of you know if there's a Saturn Pluto conjunction going, I'd pull out my software, but I just really want to get through the introduction. So, maybe tomorrow, right, or hopefully tomorrow, right, when I get on to read the first lecture to you guys from this book, we'll kind of check that out about if when the next Saturn Pluto conjunction is in real time. But anyway, so let's see. Although neither of these happenings has resulted in a global conflagration, that's an interesting word, conflagration, there has nevertheless been a degree of slaughter fit for the umbrella of a Saturn-Pluto conjunction. Although much has happened both in the world and in terms of my own increased understanding of the outer planets and the energies they symbolize, the original intent of the conference remains unchanged in my mind and has resulted in the transcription of the lectures and the publication of this book. Briefly, that intent is to try to bring a little more insight to bear on profound and powerful eruptions and shifts in the collective psyche. The matrix which Jung describes so extensively in his collected works as a sea out of which all individual personality emerges. Since the conference, my training and work as a Jungian analyst have offered me rich opportunity to watch the workings of the outer planets in the dreams and ongoing life experiences of my analysans as well as my astrological clients. This direct experience of what previously has been intuitive speculation based on horoscope readings alone has confirmed my feeling that the outer planets are deeply significant representatives of the collective operating within the individual's life framework, and that they perform like a force of fate, blind, compulsive, overwhelming, and often destructive unless the ego can develop enough insight to distinguish I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, myself. See. Okay. Ugh. Let's try that one again. We'll start at the. It is my feeling that the outer planets are deeply significant representatives of the collective operating within the individual's life framework, and that they perform like a force of fate, blind, compulsive, overwhelming, and often destructive, unless the ego can develop enough insight to distinguish itself from the collective currents of which it is a part of. That's really important, and it sucks that you all left right when I got to that part. But that I should put into like a short, you know. Uh, anyways, as Jung puts it in volume 16 of the collected works, in these circumstances, so this is a quote from Carl Jung. In these circumstances, the immunizing of the individual against the toxin of the mass psyche is the only thing that can help, end quote. More than anyone else, except perhaps the psychotherapist and the priest, the astrologer today must respond with equilibrium to the chronic terror of Holocaust and apocalypse, which is so widespread at the present and generates so much anxiety in people's lives. It was to these themes that the Reckon Trust conference was addressed, and the urgency which I felt then about the need for greater understanding of the outer planets among the astrological community has not decreased in the intervening 3 years. This is really good for election time because, you know, Saturn and Pluto have a lot to do with politics, especially Saturn. As an analyst who works primarily with individuals, I am not overwhelmingly sympathetic to the belief that we can change the world to our own noble designs by shouting at everybody else from marches and picket lines about the evils of organizations and political parties, or by manufacturing grand, well-meaning schemes by which spiritual enlightenment might be offered to the blind and stupid masses. There's enough blindness and stupidity in oneself to provide occupation for a lifetime, if not longer. She's basically saying, instead of like pointing our fingers and preaching at people, we all have our own ignorance and blind spots, you know, that would take us a lifetime to sort out. And she says, this is what she's saying basically in a nutshell. And she says, and I am firmly on the side of Jung when he says that if there is something wrong with society, then there is something wrong with the individual. And if there is something wrong with the individual, then there is something wrong with me. That's a good way to take accountability. That is the dictum by which any responsible counselor or therapist must work. If one has any hope or idealism for a better life and a better world, the place to begin is with one's own prima materia. We should look that up. The commencement of every alchemical opus, and in the final analysis, the only thing to which the individual has any access or perhaps any right. Although the material in these lectures is about larger movements in the collective and includes interpretation of the horoscopes of various countries, it is nevertheless oriented primarily toward individual interpretation. It is the individual who in the end gives expression to collective myths and visions. And society is ultimately a conglomerate of individuals, not an abstract entity, with an independent existence. The outer planets are transpersonal, that is, beyond the personal, but they reveal themselves through the psychology of individuals, that is, through you and me. For this reason, I feel that if one is genuinely concerned with the issues of good and evil in the world, then one will ultimately need to encounter these issues within oneself. That is the only place where any hope of resolution can be found. Projecting good and evil into countries and ideologies is a fascinating and relieving pastime, but leads nowhere except into hopelessness and despair, at present a common enough state. Hence, there are no solutions offered in these lectures for the woes of the world, and it will be difficult for the reader to ascertain any particular political stance. In fact, no solutions of any kind are offered at all. My intention was to raise questions and help to promote individual reflection and application of what astrological insights we may have about the. I need another sip. One more little sip. And help to promote individual reflection and application of what astrological insights we may have about the outer planets in our own lives. That was the purpose of the Wreck and Trust Conference, and the purpose remains unchanged. November 1982, Liz Green, London. So, we'll be going over this as sort of a book study in the coming weeks, and there's a lot more we can dig into. Like, it just prompted me to look if we're having a Saturn-Pluto conjunction anytime soon, but if you're watching this in the playback and you want to look it up for us, that's awesome. Do keep your eye out for the big 144 series, Sagittarius, Sun, Aries, Moon video coming out soon. And if you want a personal reading from me, you can go to rotation411.com. And if you are still looking for your soulmate, do check out moonmatch.love. It's our divine timing database, and it's a really cool platform to meet someone that you're astrologically compatible with, and you're going to have a lot better odds in there than you're going to have on any other dating site, since everyone dates online now. We actually set up the algorithm to match you with people that you don't have any malefic, deal breaker, or divorce aspects with. So it's pretty cool. Check it out, and then stay tuned for me doing more of these birthdays. You can like and subscribe if you want to see when I do your birthday. We already did several. You can check out the playlist. I think it was mostly around like April and May that we got through. So I'm going to pick it back up starting now. Let's see what's today. It's already like October 27th. So keep an eye out. We'll start at October 27th. So if your birthday was like, gosh, is it the 27th now? Gosh, it's just been flying by, but I'll start at October 27th. And we'll go through. I might even just record a few of them after, but they're pre-recorded. But we'll be doing the book club on the outer planets and their cycles live in the coming days and weeks. So do be sure to like and subscribe if you want to follow along with that. Again, just a quick channel update to let you guys know what I'm going to be up to. I'm sending you lots of love, blessings, and light as always.